Well, the group stages have concluded, and now 16 teams are left in the race for the coveted Champions League trophy. On February 13th, the first round of the knockout stages begins. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Josh Armour, and I'm joined by Owen Cameros to bring you our predictions for the Champions League knockout stages round of 16. Now, the first two games of the next week feature two of the tournament's most favored teams. Owen, what is your prediction for these two Tuesdays matchups?
Yeah, so I'll start with Copenhagen and City. Obviously, Man City winning the tournament last year, led by Manchester City's finest, Kevin De Bruyne, and Erling Haaland as well. And they're playing a Copenhagen team that surprised everyone by making it into the last 16. They beat out United, they beat out Galatasaray in that Group A, which was quite surprising to everybody. But I mean, Manchester City is just incredibly talented. Their squad value is 1.26 billion. They have players on that team that are worth more than Copenhagen's entire squad put together. And, the thing with Copenhagen is just going to be, are they able to kind of score a goal and get kind of lucky? It's going to be a tournament of luck for them, especially in this first round against Manchester City. And I just don't see them being able to provide the talent needed to break down just a solid Manchester City squad that's going to score 6 goals. They're going to score 6 goals over 2 legs, and Copenhagen isn't going to be able to score to match them goal for goal. John Stones in the back for Manchester City is one of the best defenders in the world. He'll be back there. There'll be other talented players back there. Ederson's a great goalkeeper. I think that Copenhagen is going to crash out of this tournament pretty fast. And then moving on to the next fixture on Tuesday, it's going to be RB Leipzig and 2022 winner Real Madrid. RB Leipzig, they have a young star in Xavi Simons who's been lighting up the Bundesliga. Xavi Simons is technically on PSG, but he's been loaned out to Leipzig for the remainder of the season. Real Madrid, Champions League experience with a lot of young talent. They won UCL in 2022 for a reason, and they've just added talent. Jude Bellingham's incredible this year. He has 18 goals and 8 assists in 25 games, which is incredibly solid. This is going to be a farewell tour for both Modric and Toni Kroos, who are both leaving. So it'll be really interesting to see how far this team goes, and I have Real Madrid beating Leipzig in the first round of the Champions League round of 16.
Yeah, I agree. Both of these two teams of Copenhagen and Leipzig did very well in their group stages, both finishing second, I believe. But, when you're drawing against two of the Champions League's biggest teams, I just don't see a future where they progress. But with that being said, moving on to Wednesday's games, Owen, who do you think will come out on top for those matchups?
So starting with PSG and Real Sociedad, PSG has been one of the best teams in League One for 5-10 years now, and they're coming in playing La Liga's Real Sociedad. PSG, they don't have Neymar anymore, they don't have Messi, but they still have Kylian Mbappe, and he still is Kylian Mbappe with 29 goals in 28 matches. And I just think with PSG, they've been here before, they have been in the Champions League, it's every year in the last 7 years, and they're just star-studded, full of talent, and are just going to overcome the Real Sociedad team. Sociedad comes into this as the heavy underdogs. We'll see if they're able to do anything, maybe make a surprise, because there's always is one type of Champions League round of 16 surprise. I just don't think it'll be this fixture with the talent of Kylian Mbappe and PSG.
Yeah, I agree. PSG a little bit lucky to actually make it into the round of 16, considering the whole controversy with Newcastle and the VAR and all of that. But PSG, they're just too good for Real Sociedad.
Moving on to Lazio versus Bayern. Bayern have been incredible in the past 5 years, especially in the Bundesliga. This year they go out and they sign Harry Kane from Tottenham and bring a bit of Tottenham into Bayern, which is by meaning that they are actually second currently in the Bundesliga to Bayern Leverkusen, who's coached by Xavi Alonso. And it's been really interesting because Bayern don't look like they're going to be catching up, at least very soon in the season. But in the Champions League, they're just one of the best teams. They're a European giant, tried and true, and they're going to get by Lazio pretty easily. They have so much experience. They lost Robert Lewandowski to Barcelona, signed Harry Kane, and Harry Kane's just been electric. Lazio, they've only won 2 of their last 5 games. They're coming into this not in the best of forms, and so they're going to crash out pretty early.
Yeah, Lazio looking pretty leaky defensively. However, you got to remember they do have Ciro Immobile up top. He's always been consistently a dangerous striker, especially in the Premier League. But, a leaky defense combined with Harry Kane going against them, I agree. I just don't see them getting anything past Bayern, really.
Absolutely. Now, PSV Dortmund is a really interesting one. I quite like this fixture. PSG undefeated in the Dutch league this year in the Entree Vista. Air Vista, excuse me, and 18-2-0, 18 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses, 56 points, headed by Luke de Jong, who's just been absolutely incredible. 2 Americans in Malik Tillman and Serginho Dest are going to be starting against a Dortmund side that just recently lost Giorana. They lost Jude Bellingham at the start of the year. They haven't looked great in the Bundesliga, but they were quite good in the Champions League group stages. They did really well, especially against teams like PSG and Milan. And I just think that they're a team that maybe they're not as great as they have been, but they still are Dortmund. They still are a European giant. And so I think this is going to be an interesting fixture, and I think Dortmund will come out on top, maybe in like a 6-5 game over 2 legs.
Yeah, once again, I have to agree with you. I mean, PSV's young and talented, but Dortmund just has the experience and really more the depth to come out on top.
Absolutely. And then let's get into the final 2 fixtures, Inter Milan versus Atletico Madrid. Inter Milan with a great spine of Lautaro Martinez, Nicolo Barella, and Alessandro Bastoni. All of those men over $60 million in the transfer markets, all of them great players. Young players as well, 26, 26, and 24. Incredibly talented. Lautaro Martinez, 22 goals in 29 games. Versus Atletico, who are coached by Diego Simeone. They don't play pretty football, but they play winning football. They're very good defensively. They press quite well. And I think the Atletico are just going to be too much for Inter, who did great in 2022, but I don't think they're going to come back in 2023. Yeah, and then moving on to your favorite fixture, Napoli versus Barcelona. It's a really even matchup. Both teams are quite good. Napoli, they're headed by just a great lineup of they're a great team, really solid, have been really good in the past few years in the Champions League and just haven't been able to find the success in the last 4, but they're a team that usually gets through the first round. Barcelona, they have Robert Lewandowski in probably his last Champions League ever campaign, so we'll see if he's able to produce some magic like he used to do for Bayern Munich. They lost Gavi for the rest of the year with a ligament tear, but they still have Pedri, and he'll be required to step up. Napoli, on the other end, they'll get Osimhen back from AFCON in Nigeria. They've struggled in Serie A this year, so I think that Barcelona is going to be the team to come out on top in this fixture.
Yeah, this is really the only matchup besides Atletico and Inter Milan that I could see really going either way. Barcelona, their coaching woes, Xavi announcing that he would be leaving at the end of the season. But Napoli, looking really bright, really young, but really not doing that much within their own respective leagues so far. But I'm going to go with Napoli here, only just because of the recent news of Simmons departing. But I would not be surprised if Barcelona steal the game anyways.
It's a fixture either team could come out on top in.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it. Our predictions of the 8 teams who will proceed to the quarterfinals of the Champions League knockout stages. I'm Josh Armour, joined by Owen Cameros, and we thank you for watching Penn State Sports Night's coverage of the Champions League Round of 16. Good night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.